Tell you who it is. It's Kevin Hill with Put the Cup Down, or with Freight Waves, Put that coffee down.
Put it down.
Put it down. And why? So Sonar, Freight Waves, a lot of time there. You do that. You do your segment over there, Put That Coffee Down.
Yes.
What is that segment even about?
Well, if you've ever seen Glenn Ross, all-star cast, if you haven't seen it, you need to go see it. You have Jack Lemmon in there. Okay. You have Ed Harris. Kevin Spacey's in there. Alec Baldwin turns into this scene where Jack Lemmon, he's the guy from downtown, from Mitch and Murray.
Got it.
I'm from Mitch and Murray. I'm downtown. I'm the motivational speaker. I'm going to cuss you out and get you motivated. Well, he comes in. Jack Lemmon is going to go get himself a cup of coffee, and you hear Alec Baldwin, "Put that coffee down. Coffee is for closers only."
Oh!
And then you get into the scene. So, Junior and I came up with this idea for a Freight Sales podcast. We had the name, we had the idea, the name, the theme music, the artwork, everything done in an afternoon.
Wow. Put that. It's for closers.
And they, you know what? Only. And they had more than one production computer working to get that.
You know what? Probably so.
I don't think we had any production computers actually.
Hey, but we're delighted that you stopped in here. We did a show with you today on your show, and now you're returning the favor. We got 10 or 15 minutes to sit and talk a little bit. Let's just dive into it, because one thing that we all love to talk about is that freight market. I mean, you asked me the question on yours. I'm going to go right to it.
We going up or we going down?
And we're not talking. Let's talk first quarter 2023. What are we seeing?
We are seeing a lot of nothing, really. I mean, I think. If you look at, I didn't look at Sonar this morning. What's the national tender rejection rate?
Still 4.5. Yeah, still down there.
So in 2019, we hit double digits about this time, right? The only time we hit that, and we hit it very briefly, and it just went straight down in January. I don't know if we're going to hit 6% rejection rates at the very highest peak, which was going to be next week, maybe the week after.
Yeah.
It's just on the capacity side, it's just a dead market. Spot rates are getting hit, and I think once you go into that seasonal low, it's going to be a very dark 3-month period.
Yeah,
winter is coming, I suppose.
Winter's coming, right? No, I agree. That could be may be the theme for first quarter. Winter's coming. There's no doubt about it. Hey, drive safe, Dave. So in your other job out here, you're dealing with a lot of this high volatile freight, especially that spot market side. You're dealing with peak big time. What are you seeing to either give us a little comfort or just help me out a little bit?
I'll tell you, it's definitely way less than it was last year. I mean, there's no question across the board, way less than it was last year. I think it's a little better than they thought it was going to be, but it's not where we definitely want it to be. I hope I answered all of that in those 3 statements.
Yeah, and you didn't. So I'm going to go on. So with that, I have a backup question for you on that. So Dave's talking with a heavy shipper, and he deals with a lot of this. We can't say the name, but it's a major shipper, a ton of freight. I'm talking, you're moving what, 300, 400 loads a day.
Yeah.
With this shipper out here. You know what the market's looking like. Some frustrations that I've heard from you is the amount of freight that's still on dock that they can't get off the dock.
Correct.
What does that even mean?
So they got I want to say it has a lot to do with the number of people that they have inside sorting packages and other number or loading trailers. I think they're a lot shorter handed than they thought they were going to be, and they're not getting them out in time. So they're overwhelming themselves on the dock with inbounds. They're trying to get through them and get them back out, and they're just getting clogged in. They're having to move stuff around and figure out what they're going to do, because I really don't think they thought it was going to be way less than where we're at, and I think it's a little bit better than what they thought, and they're getting hammered for it because of a lot of the inbounds. Because people went out and bought. People went out on Black Friday and bought more than they thought they were going to do, up from last year.
Ordered it on the computer.
And then Cyber Monday, they went out, and I think we are 5.8% higher than we were last year. And last year was good.
Last year was really good. It's really good. I think it's this inventory thing, this inventory narrative that
they keep talking
kind of under inventoried last year over inventoried this year, even with the growth in sales. And then you have the Fed, not to get into really economics and everything, but you have a tight labor market.
Absolutely,
right? It's
100%.
tough to get workers. The Fed is going to raise interest rates until that cracks.
Yep.
And it's taken a long time, and there's a huge margin of error to using interest rates to cure all the ills.
Yeah, and you brought up inventory too. So inventory, I believe, if you look at the logistics managers index, it hadn't been updated yet. We're about 65. That which means that we've got a long way to go. There's still a lot of inventory. Now it has finally started moving down. Now, if it did what it did back in the same period of 2019, right, during 2019, all of a sudden you saw inventories really kind of release.
Yeah.
And in March of 2020, right before COVID, we saw for the first time one of the largest spikes in volume of freight being shipped out. We saw it right, and then we had COVID, right? They were like, went right
Screeching
down,
halt.
straight down, man. But we were feeling it, and so we talk a lot about that inventory right now. That inventory right now today, it's a hard inventory for a large shipper to release right now because they paid a lot of money for that inventory. A lot of money.
Historic, more than they've ever paid.
Oh, yeah.
More than they've ever paid for that. And so who's the guy that's going to be the guy that says, go ahead and sell it at a reduced rate. We're good. Let's just cut that, and let's cut it as a loss and move forward. Who's that guy?
And the more discretionary you are, the more you paid for it. You have inflation, but it's not inflation in what you're trying to get rid of, right? And
it's crazy.
It's going to take a while for corporations to really admit it. You know, Target and Walmart kind of came out to begin with and said, we just have to work out this excess inventory. And they did a really good job of last year.
Yeah, for sure. Then we have the spot market, right? You talk about rejections. Well, when rejections are as low as they are, that means there's just less freight out there to go on the spot market, which really drives that price down. We see the pricing right now, even though we're in peak, at about $1.86 a mile line haul on that spot market freight. Dave, talk a little bit about the difference between $1.86 this year, and let's jump back to 2019. It was about the same pricing as we're in right now. What's the big difference?
Fuel.
Fuel.
I mean, it is the difference maker in how much money you make weekly, how much money you're going to make as a contractor out there running. It is absolutely the absolute difference maker on what you're making this year. Because I tell you right now, fuel is going to run some people out of business. It's just going to burn people out of business because they bought high, they bought their trucks high, they bought their equipment high, and here it is, and they had this all budgeted at that number. And here you are, you're paying twice what you were paying for it last year on the same fuel.
Now, I have a question for you, going off Dave, and a question for Dave, too. Because of those higher truck prices, those higher insurance costs, right? Are we going to see capacity come down quicker than we did in 2019?
I'll give you that answer on that.
I have an answer as well.
I'll give you the right answer. So once you hear from me, we won't have to go to Drive Save Dave on this one. But here it is right here. What we're going to see as many or more trucking failures than we've ever seen before coming up. But that doesn't mean we're going to lose capacity. That means they're going to either take that truck and lease it on to a large company. Yeah. They're going to go back to that company that they quit last year, right? They quit last year because it was just like, man, this is the time to start your own business. If you can't, and then this happened, right? And then March happened, and the fuel went up, and the prices continue to go. So I'm going to say we will see a huge loss. And when I say the loss, that's really going to affect that spot market, right? Because those folks with the 1, 2, 3 trucks, Dave and Kevin, they're the ones that are fighting for that spot market freight. And so once those brokers lose them to larger trucking companies, the trucking companies aren't going to take that freight from them on that spot side. They're going to go directly to that shipper, and they're going to work on a contracted rate to get that price. So I do say that for the large shippers out there that are thinking it's time to go to the market, it's time to really cut the price, be careful what you wish for, because there's not a lot of backup out there today. There's not a deep bench out there, with trailers and trucks out there today.
There is not.
There's just isn't.
And you can't, and there's not any on the horizon either. I mean, it's not like there's an excess of trailers you can go out and buy.
Yeah, Dave, talk about trucks. I mean, we're under allocations from the major manufacturers for all of 23.
All of 23, and they're still talking about 24.
Yep.
Allocation.
The allocations.
Yeah,
and
it's
that's
gonna take some time.
truck and trailer.
It's crazy.
That's truck and trailer.
It's-
I mean, that's it. I mean, you're on allocation.
It's just mesmerizing, and it constrains that capacity.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're talking about. Compared to 2018 when you could just go order 20 trucks and have them show up at any time, and you're going to go capture that market. You can't order trucks, you can't order trailers. The driving training schools shut down for the longest time and limited capacity.
It did, no.
For a long, long time, you couldn't get new drivers in. And then you have a huge competition with the labor force as well that constraint.
Let's just do that. I know we only have about 2 or 3 minutes before we go to a break here, but I think it's a great topic here. Let's just go back and armchair quarterback COVID from a trucking side. Let's armchair that for a minute here. I mean, what would we or should we have done different on transportation logistics?
I don't know if there's anything could have done differently. I mean, I think, well, I guess there's, in hindsight, there's probably a ton of things, throughout the entire supply chain is de-risk some of the efficiencies, right? It was a very efficient supply chain from overseas or manufacturing, very tight, just in time, and while very efficient, very brittle, very easy to break, right? What transportation itself could have, I don't know. I think it caught everybody by surprise.
Look, let's if everything's closed, nobody's buying anything. I mean, no, the restaurants are closed. I'm not talking about grocery stores.
Who wasn't essential?
Huh?
Who wasn't essential during that time?
Who wasn't essential?
Business-wise, shipping out.
I don't know.
Nobody?
Baseball players.
No.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Manufacturing.
Okay.
I mean, who wasn't essential? We all found a way to be essential if you do that. And I'm right with you. I don't know what we would do different. I mean, if it happened again, I think we as a country would react different.
Absolutely. We've learned
that. I don't know that we as a trucking and transportation would do anything different. I will say this, though, that when this country needed us, we stepped it up.
100%.
And I say we, I'm really talking about you, our drivers out there, Kevin. What a job that they did to keep this country afloat.
Amazing job out there every day, fighting, and certainly in the depths of the fear of COVID, right? When it was really, really bad. It was a lot of uncertainty. Drivers out there driving.
And Dave, from a driver, we definitely proved to America who's really at fault when it comes to driving, because accidents just didn't happen out there when the four-wheelers weren't on the road.
No.
So we've got that. We did a case study. There's no doubt. The big trucks, you did a great job. Four-wheelers, hey, stay out of the way. Give them respect. Give them that thing. Hey, we're going to a break. We're coming right back with some more BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. You're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. BCB Live covers freight. Here we are now at 21% of record freight being rejected. News down in Texas. We're going to talk a little bit about this. We had another $1.5 million seizure. If ever there's a time to do a pre or post trip, it's if you're doing something wrong. Weather, traffic.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to some traffic and weather with Buckle Up Bob. You can kind of see where the visibility can be compromised a little bit. Again, right where that rain is.
And most importantly, safety. One of the things that we must do is make sure that safety is the number one thing that we focus on.
Going into an intersection yellow is not the way. That's to clear an intersection, not to enter an intersection.
Tune in weekdays from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. You can watch BCB Live through LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe today and follow BCB Live.
All right, and welcome back to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Drive safe, Dave, Sir, Rick here, along with Blake, man, and the boards. And we have Natalia on Ladies Who Launch. How you doing, Natalia?
I am good. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. And you are the founder of Trucking Safely.
Woo! We love safety here. Go ahead, Natalia. Tell us a little bit.
So yes, I have started this company about 2 years ago, and I've been doing it since. I do coaching and consulting for smaller trucking companies.
You know what? It's funny you say that because we had a conversation today on coaching. Talk to me a little bit about coaching, because coaching, being coached the wrong way, can get drivers or others kind of offended, getting them on the wrong, taking it the wrong way. When you talk coaching, how important is that to those that are doing the coaching?
Yes, so the way that I coach my clients, so I mostly work with owners of the companies, just because safety comes from the owner's mindset. If it doesn't, then it doesn't really matter what anybody else does in the company. So coaching to me is mostly the implementation. You can tell a person what to do, but they still might not be able to know how to do it. So the coaching is a lot of it in the actual implementation. And when it comes to drivers specifically, we focus on internal. I think that a lot of problems that the drivers are having could be fixed just by organizing internal operations of the company.
So here, let's just start right off the bat. Hey, you started your own company. What made you want to start it, and why? Because I want to get into the nitty. What made you want to do it, and for what reasons?
So I'll be honest with you. I was in the trucking industry for 7 years, and then eventually I was exhausted from it. It's constantly, there's so much in it. And I was working in a smaller company, and that is just a different story in itself. But I actually left the industry and I went and tried different things. And then eventually, because I've tried so many things, I realized that the trucking industry is kind of closed off. There's really not that many new great ideas for implementation. And then I saw it from a different perspective, and I came back with that perspective.
Wow. Yeah, that's, and many of us, we get into this industry, and let's face it, we try to get out, but somehow, for some reason, it just grabs us back in, and it brings us back in. You're doing the backstroke, get me out of here, and it won't let you. It brings you in here. So what about that stack of paper? There's something about a stack of papers that helped you also create this job, right? Am I making that up?
Yes, stack of papers. I always say I started with the stack of papers because I was working with two of my brothers, and I was actually a dispatch. But then I found this huge stack of papers that it was kind of in the corner. Nobody was dealing with it because nobody wanted to. And my personality, I wanted to organize everything. And that's kind of where it started, because there was a lot of things not being taken care of.
So here we're going to tell you. So you go into trucking companies as a coach, and all of a sudden you look at them. Do you just come across a lot of disorganization by a lot of people when you come in there, on their safety and stuff like that? You walk in and go, you know what? We got to reorganize. We got to re-nest this. Do you do that a lot?
Yes. So that's pretty much all I do. I reorganize every structure, safety programs, and safety to me is just not a department, it's part of the strategy, so it touches every aspect of a business. So usually we end up reorganizing the way that it's structured internally in the operations of it.
Hey, Natalia, when I bring somebody in here, especially a consultant, then I better see some profits somewhere else. How are you doing that part? Because you got to show somebody that, hey, this is going to create some profits for you. Are you able to do that?
Surprisingly, yes. So a lot of the work that I do, companies are able to grow much faster because of the confidence. So most of the stuff that I do, we automate safety and compliance in the project management methods. So instead of necessarily, so a lot of companies aren't able to hire full-time safety managers. So we implement processes that would do that job for them without having to necessarily hire a full-time person.
How do you address the idea or the mindset from, let's say, an owner or a small operation who's in charge of not only dispatching the truck but also the safety guy, how do you get that person to differentiate between wanting to get the job done and then the safety guy saying, no, we can't get it done because it's not safe? I mean, obviously there's two conflicting ideas there. How do you bend those? How do you get those together?
I think that initially the strategy has to be set up in the way that implements safety. That's why I always say it starts with the owner, because we like it or not, everything that the owner does in smaller companies, it explicitly or implicitly either drives safe culture or it doesn't. So I think it depends on first the strategy, and then from that you can go and actually find those common grounds. But if the strategy does one thing for operations specifically and then the safety is trying to do something else, which is usually the case, then there's not a way that you can work effectively.
Yeah, and I think a challenge for you or for anybody in the safety side is trying to, get the two departments to really see that, hey, no matter what, yes, we want on-time service. Yes, we want this. Yes, we want to make money, but it has to happen in a safe manner. Sometimes, though, you hear it from the dispatcher or somebody that says, we can do all we want to, but the drivers don't care. What are your thoughts on that?
Drivers specifically, I think that it depends how, again, I focus on the office personnel, so everybody who's working within the office. A lot of times drivers don't care because nobody follows up, there's no consequences, there's no rewards. So really nobody cares until something happens, and that's a problem. Companies that continually proactively work with their drivers usually have different feedback, and the way drivers treat that differently.
Do you on occasion, or is it more often than not that you go into companies after the bad things have happened and you're trying to find new ways to make it better? Or do you go in typically before the bad things have happened and make them better? Which of the two do you find yourself doing more of?
So when I was starting, I thought I'll be working more with companies that are already on fire. But surprisingly, a lot of my clients are the ones who proactively want to grow, and they want that foundation. They want it established, they want it automated, they want it there for them. So the majority of my clients, it's not on fire. We are structuring, we are planning for growth, and I like that type of work a little bit more.
Yeah, it's a little probably less stress-free inside that office when somebody's been mandated to get their safety under control, as opposed to somebody bringing you in to proactively manage. That was a great, because I typically look at somebody that's a consultant as you're going in there after the fact. Do smaller companies, number one, do they really have that care? And I'll ask you that 1 to 50 truck operator, I mean, are they really out there today in your mind trying to do everything the safest way, following the same rules that the big companies are?
I think that the ones that are growing, they actually are, and I think that's one of the most surprising things that I found when actually working and finding clients, is they are proactively looking, they are trying to learn, and they are trying to actually implement it. They're not trying to kind of get by, they want to be with the bigger companies.
Do you find yourself ever at key points where you just get some major pushback when you're trying to, I guess my deal is, where do you find the biggest pushback along the way? Is it the owner? Is it the middle management? Is it the operation guy? Is it the dispatcher? Where do you find some of the biggest pushbacks?
I think that a lot of smaller companies are opened by a few partners, and based on the way that personalities match and then people find each other, like the partners' ownership, it's usually one of the owners because of their personality. They're more money driven. I usually have pushback from there. But it's, and I've seen it many times because usually people find different skills to complement them, but that's also where the problems happen.
Hey, Natalia, I want to hear this. I'm going to kind of go off script here, but at some point you've came across a situation that you just were like, there's just no way these folks are going to hear my message or going to follow up with what I had. Can you give me a success story? Somebody that was a challenge, and you, through your hard work, through your coaching, through your teaching, were able to get them to change their practices the way that they should be.
Well, I think that my first experience was working with two of my older brothers. I was fighting with them for 7 years, and it was just a lot of fighting because I didn't know how to present it to them in a way that they would actually implement. So I think a lot of my learning experience happened there because I was just openly fighting with them. And then eventually it came to a point where I was able to implement it, and people were able to listen. And I think that's where I was able to go into coaching, because I have tuned into my delivery methods.
Huh. That's a good point.
When you walk into a what do you find is the number one issue in these 1 to 50 truck operations? If you had to pick the top two, what are the top two major issues that you want to get addressed quickly and first?
Top two, I would say driver onboarding. That is one of the biggest, what we focused on. So I have a list of processes that I structure for companies, and driver onboarding is the biggest one, just because, I mean, we could talk about it all day long. It affects your safety scores. But mostly I come in and I look at their safety scores, and from that we create a strategy, what they need to do. But we want to retain the drivers, and we want to be able to actually start implementing whatever it is. We implement. We don't just talk about it, we do things.
Natalia, you're president, CEO. Are you your only employee today?
Yes, I am.
I want to hear your why. You know, when other than you just wanted to get back in and do something, why safety? I mean, where did that passion for safety come from? And you know, and how are you using that to really change these trucking companies?
I think for me is the fact that I never was able to actually grasp it. It is such a wide area of information and different techniques that you have to understand within safety. So I was never able to actually get it completely, and it bugs me. I need to be able to be an expert, and there was one area where I couldn't be that expert. But I think the biggest thing why I came back specifically into safety is when I worked in that low time gap. I worked for a software company, project management company. I was able to see what I was missing, so I had a stack of papers. Instead, it should have been a process. It should have been in a project management system, and that's what I do for companies, because I didn't really get it at the end, and that kind of pushed me to figure it out all the way, and that's why we implement a lot of project management system. I use ClickUp, and we build that out completely, and it makes it so much easier for the clients.
You find yourself, as you do this, and as you look at these companies and you go in and work with, do you look at their safety scores as your best judgment on how they're doing? Is that how you judge yourself on your success? Or do you look at their retention rate, or do you look at what are some of your values that you look at that you measure yourself on your success with these companies?
So he asked this because he leaves out of work every day patting himself on the back.
Correct.
He's wanting to know, what do you pat yourself on the back for?
That is a very interesting question, because when you're in consulting and coaching, there's really not that much you can pat yourself on the back, because a lot of stuff that I do, the results will be in a year or two. But it's the ability, it is knowing, it is speaking with the owner and seeing that he is thinking differently or she's thinking differently. I think that is enough for me, because I know from there on they will be okay. Their mind has changed, they have shifted, and from that on, and then the processes that I've built, it will take them far.
Well, I tell you what, Natalia, I do appreciate you coming on today, and great information, and we appreciate it. Hey, do me a favor. What is the best way to reach you over at Trucking Safely? What's the best way to get a hold of you?
It's truckingsafety.com.
All right,
Great.
and we get pretty easy. and I'll tell you what, before you get out of here, we ask all our guests to do one thing, and that is to state their name, who they're with, and you're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Can you do that for me?
Sure. Hi, my name is Natalia, co-founder of Trucking Safety, and you're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
All right.
All right.
Thank
Thank you, Miss Natalia. Have a great day and make it happen, okay?
Thank you. You as well.
All right. Drive safe, Dave. Natalia, love that that energy as well, right? Because we need more folks like Natalia, ladies, young men, people coming into this industry that want to make a difference. And Dave,
A
let me tell
safety
you,
difference.
A safety difference. And at most places, there's a lot of room in there for that, you know, for some improvement, right? I mean, it's just it's safety.
It is safety, and it's, you know what, it's come a long way. And I'll tell you what, we need people to come in and talk about safety. We need people to come in and change some of these mindsets. I really liked when she said about ownership coming in and understanding a little bit differently, looking at.
Yeah. Hey, drive safe. We got to take a detour and come right back with Double Check Dale on BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
All right, everybody, welcome back to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. You've got Double Check Dale over here, and then detouring this way is Drive Safe Dave. Once again, we're talking about lane changes.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
What are we talking about with lane changes?
How to execute them safely. What are the steps that go into it? You know, probably the biggest.
I have an idea.
Plan ahead.
I have an idea, and communicate. Plan ahead and communicate. I think those two are the most unused operations in lane changing ever.
Yep, probably right. Plan ahead. Leave more space. Watch your speed. Check your mirrors. Signal your intention. You're going to like this one. Check your mirrors again. And then change your lane slowly. You know, lane change is not
Where's your communication?
Signal your intention. That's my communication. There you go. What more do you want?
I want a lot.
I mean, you can't go hang your head out the window.
Sometimes you never know.
Use your turn signals. Communicate. Create that space. Take your time changing lanes. You know, out of everything we just said, that plan ahead, know where your exit is or know when you need to be in that lane, and start planning ahead for it so you don't have to try squeezing over or getting over in a hurry. You know, and leave more space. Those people are going to cut you off. They're coming back over. It's just the way of the world. So do that. Watch your speed. Check your mirrors. Signal your intention. And then check your mirrors again.
Plan ahead and communicate. That's what's going to be some of the secrets of success when it comes to absolutely changing a lane. So I'll tell you what. Well, let's quickly go to a video.
Let's look at a couple of those.
Let's look at a video. And I bet we're going to do some speed and space.
I'll bet you're right. And that's what we're going to start off with. I mean, there's a whole lot of tailgating going on here. We're following too close. We jump from one following too close situation to another following too close. And if we're watching the traffic in the lane that we're changing into, they're already tailgating. They're already bunching up. We're not going to go anywhere any faster. So just slow down, create your space. Ooh, we're in a construction zone. There's some cones out, and we're too close. Hey, you know, never a good time to follow too close. Construction zone would also fit in that. Not a good place to follow too close.
Why are you in following this close? I mean, there's really no need. I mean, I know you're only going 48 miles an hour, but you're still too close at 48 miles an hour. You got no visibility around the vehicle in front of you. You got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Best thing you can do here is back off, find a safer play here, and just take your time. You're not going to lose anything being another 100 feet back. You won't lose anything at all.
Nope, and nobody is going to cut you off. Nobody's going to zip by you and cut you off. You're
No.
in the zone, so just get that space. it's nighttime and we're too close in there. Just the visibility is reduced, so we got to increase our space to safe following distance. We're not there yet. Just back off a little bit. We can see toward the end, if we look at the metrics, takes his foot off the accelerator or gas and just
trying to create some space here, 100%, and it actually touches the brake at the end.
Right at the end, yeah. And so he's getting it. Just got to do it a little bit quicker. Get out of that situation a little bit faster.
Whoa!
Ooh.
I can read that license plate.
Yes, you can. Does it say too close?
And it does.
Yep. And we get this a lot. Well, I think the guy in the truck head may have been signaling he's coming over or changing lanes. We're still too close. Whether that truck changes lanes or not, we're still too close. Get out of that situation so this never even happens to where you're there too close behind him. Just back on out of it. If he's going to change lanes, give him the space that's due. One last video, and
No, this isn't it. This isn't what we're doing. There was the stop line right there, and we didn't.
Rolling.
I'll tell you what, not good, not liking it. We've got to stop at these stop signs all the way, come to a complete stop before you proceed. It's the only way, it's the best way, and it's what we do here on BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. I hope everybody has a great and wonderful and a safe day. And if you have an opportunity, join us tomorrow as we'll continue more of the same with great interviews and great safety. And Double Check Dale will be back for some more informative stuff on lane changing. I can't wait, sir. I cannot wait. It's happening for me right now. I'm not even going to move from this chair until tomorrow you get here. Same time, same channel. See y'all then. Bye, everybody.